Okay, so I'm going to talk about how to use the Synchronize feature in the Watchtower library to help you write your talks. So you need to have the English and the Chinese version on your computer. So the easiest way is to just find something that you would like to discuss in the English and then find that in Chinese. So like my talk is about why we should fear Jehovah, and so I found this watchtower that I like. So especially paragraph 7 and 8 I'm interested in. So like 7, it has a thought that I would really like to say. It says reverential fear of God and acute awareness of his awesome power are precursors of trust and confidence in Jehovah. So I'm going to highlight that sentence and then right click on it and hit synchronize. There's also a synchronize button on your screen, so whichever you like to use. And then on the bottom of the screen, the Chinese Watchtower library starts to light up. So it highlights that sentence, okay? A couple of things that I suggest doing are, one, to copy it, and if you can't read it in characters, which most of us can't, paste it into NJ Star and at least look at the pinyin. So to convert this to pinyin, I'm just going to go to Tools, Convert Hanzi to pinyin. Okay. And kind of make sure that you understand what it's saying, okay? So this I can pretty much understand, and it doesn't sound quite as fancy in Chinese as it does in English. One thing you want to avoid is just copying a bunch of stuff from the Watchtower library and then trying to read it in English. Trying to read it in Chinese, because you're not going to understand what you're saying, and then probably nobody else will. So another option, if you don't understand what the thing is saying, is to use a program like Google Translate or Babelfish, just to get an idea of what it's saying, okay? Okay, so kind of the weakness of Google Translate in general, which is that it doesn't really give idiomatic translations in the new language, is kind of its strength for us, because like here it says, we are those who fear God, clearly knows the students who can make big fear, it will be happy to untrustworthy and lean by Jehovah. So not very good English, but it's sort of word for word Chinese, so it can help us to understand it, okay? You also have the option of just taking the word, if you scroll over them in NJ Star, like maybe I don't know, the you is what, okay. Unfortunately, when it converts to pinyin, it breaks up the characters. So let's see, together la you is to be happy, to take delight in. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's one way, is to just take whatever research you did in English and find it in Chinese, but I recommend not copying huge chunks, maybe just a sentence here and there, but try to connect the things that you're quoting from the Watchtower library with your own words so that it'll be a little more coherent and make sense. Another great way to use the Watchtower library is when you've got a phrase that you want to know how to say, okay? So for example, I wanted to say Jehovah gave Moses the 10 Commandments, okay? And I wasn't quite sure how to say that in Chinese, so rather than like search and search, you can just quote. Sorry, I'm typing slow. That's one-handed. Okay, so search for that phrase all in quotes. Sometimes it won't be in there at all, but in this case we're fortunate. Okay, it was in an awake, and hopefully this is an awake that will be in Chinese also. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to copy that phrase along with other laws. Jehovah gave Moses the 10 Commandments, and then synchronize that. So this is a case where we have to be careful with the synchronize feature, okay? You've probably noticed that even if you just highlight a phrase in English, it will highlight a whole sentence in the Chinese, okay? So we have to be careful that the phrase that that gets highlighted is actually the one that we want. Sometimes it's not, and we're going to see that that's actually the case here. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it into NJ so that I'll be able to find out what it says in pinyin. Okay. So this says after Moses got off the mountain, what did he see? So clearly that's not what I was trying to say. So do be careful. Again, you can't just blindly copy things from the Watchtower library. Sometimes it won't copy exactly the right thing. So in that case, you probably just want to go a few sentences before and a few sentences after. So I'm going to copy the sentence before it and see what that actually says. Then if your character recognition is very good, you might be able to see that that is the sentence that I'd kind of want. But if not, that's what NJ is for, to convert to pinyin. Okay. So this definitely discusses what I want, but it's kind of longer than I would want to say in my talk. I just want my householder to be able to say, Jehovah gave Moses the 10 Commandments. So here we've got, Jehovah on the mountain used his finger to write on 2 pieces of stone, tell Moses his commandment. Okay, so in that case I'd want to kind of just pick out a few things. So I might say like Yehovah, and then Ba Shi Jie Xie is like the 10 Commandments, Jiao Ge Moshi. Okay, so when I actually go into where my talk is, which is an NJ star, so many windows. Okay, so that's what I actually have my householder saying. Jehovah, gave these 10 commandments to Moses. Okay? So again, synchronize feature, but always make sure that when you do synchronize, you understand what you're saying. Be careful that the synchronization actually gives you the Chinese that you want and not like a sentence before or a sentence after. And if you really don't know what the Chinese is talking about, you might do well to just copy it all and translate it, or get a native speaker to help you understand like what parts of this should you actually use in your talk. All right.